Stop copying pro bodybuilders. This works better for natural lifters. You found a program online designed by a 260-pound professional bodybuilder who trains 6 days a week, 2 hours a session, takes every pharmaceutical advantage imaginable, and gets paid to be in the gym. And you ran it. You followed it religiously. You ate the meals, you did the splits, you trained chest on Monday, back on Tuesday, shoulders on Wednesday, and you felt the soreness, so you thought it was working. 6 months later, you look almost exactly the same. That's not a discipline problem. That's a biology problem. The program wasn't designed for your body. It was designed for a body running on pharmaceutical support with a recovery system that operates completely differently from yours. And in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how natural lifters actually build muscle, why pro bodybuilder programs quietly destroy your progress, and the specific training principles that change everything for natural lifters. If you've ever wondered why you're training hard but your body barely responds, this is the video you needed 2 years ago. Here's something most fitness creators won't say out loud. Professional bodybuilders don't grow muscle the way natural lifters grow muscle. The mechanisms are different, the recovery timelines are different, the volume tolerance is different, and the training principles that work for one actively work against the other. When you copy a pro bodybuilder program, you're not just following bad advice, you're following advice built for a completely different physiology. To understand why, you need to understand one thing first, the thing nobody in this space wants to see clearly. The steroid variable. Why pro programs cannot work for you. Anabolic steroids are not just performance enhancers, they are recovery tools. Here's the mechanism. When a natural lifter trains hard, testosterone and growth hormones spike after the session. They stay elevated for a few hours, then return to baseline. In that window, your body repairs the damaged muscle and builds it slightly stronger. This process takes 48 to 72 hours minimum for a natural lifter. For a professional bodybuilder on a pharmaceutical program, anabolic hormone levels don't spike and return to baseline. They stay elevated around the clock for weeks or months at a time. Translation: their muscle repair system runs 24 hours a day. Yours runs for a few hours after each session. That changes everything. A pro bodybuilder can hit the same muscle group 3 times a week with brutal volume, because by the time they walk back into the gym, that muscle has already fully repaired and is ready to be destroyed again. You try that, and you walk into Monday's chest session with Friday's damage still sitting in the tissue. You're not building muscle, you're compounding unresolved damage. That's why you feel constantly beaten up, constantly sore, constantly fatigued, and barely making progress. And that's just the recovery problem. Here's the volume problem. The program that builds a professional bodybuilder doesn't just fail to help natural lifters, it actively eats their gains. Here's the exact mechanism. Volume tolerance. More is killing your gains.
Most pro bodybuilder programs run 20 to 30 sets per muscle group per week, sometimes more. And if you're a natural lifter trying to run that volume, you're not just wasting effort, you're chemically signaling your body to stop building. Here's why. Training produces 2 things at the same time, a muscle-building signal and a cortisol response. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. It's not inherently bad. In short bursts, it's part of the process. But here's the problem. As a natural lifter, you have a threshold. Below that threshold, cortisol clears quickly. Anabolism wins, muscle grows. Above that threshold, cortisol doesn't clear fast enough. It starts outpacing your anabolic hormones, and instead of building, your body starts breaking down. Enhanced lifters have a much higher threshold because their anabolic hormones are artificially elevated around the clock, so their cortisol response gets outpaced regardless. Yours doesn't. So when you run 25 sets for chest in a week, the first 10 to 12 probably built muscle. The next 13 to 20 probably just stressed your recovery system and pushed you closer to breakdown than buildup. More sets past your threshold doesn't add more growth, it adds more cortisol, and cortisol has a direct hormonal relationship with testosterone. When one goes up, the other gets suppressed. You are training yourself into a lower hormonal environment with every extra set past your limit. So what's the right volume for a natural lifter? Research consistently points to 10 to 20 hard sets per muscle group per week. with most naturals finding their sweet spot between 12 and 16. Beyond that, you're paying for reps you're not getting returns on.
But volume isn't the only thing destroying natural lifters who follow pro programs. The frequency structure is just as broken. And this one is going to surprise you. Frequency, the natural lifter's biggest wasted opportunity. Open a classic bodybuilder program. What do you see? Chest Monday, back Tuesday, shoulders Wednesday, arms Thursday, legs Friday. One muscle group, once a week. That's the bro split, and it became the default program for an entire generation. Here's the problem. Muscle protein synthesis, the biological process that actually builds muscle, peaks after a training session and stays elevated for roughly 24 to 48 hours. After that, it returns to baseline. On a once-a-week bro split, you're training chest on Monday. The muscle-building window closes by Wednesday, and then you wait until next Monday to open it again. That's 5 days of baseline. 5 days where the muscle is just sitting there, not growing, not rebuilding, just waiting. Now here's why enhanced lifters can run it anyway. When enhanced hormones are chronically elevated, muscle protein synthesis doesn't crash back to baseline after 48 hours. It stays elevated for much longer. So even training a muscle once a week, they spend most of that week in an anabolic state. As a natural lifter, you close that window by Wednesday. Research on natural lifters shows that training each muscle group twice a week produces significantly more muscle growth than training it once with the same total weekly volume. Twice a week, you open the muscle building window twice. Once a week, you open it once. The math is simple. If you've been training hard for 2 years and you're still running a once-a-week bro split, you've been leaving half your potential gains on the table every single week. Recovery, volume, frequency. 3 different things pro programs get wrong for natural lifters, but the fourth one is the one that quietly wrecks the training of almost every natural lifter in the gym, and it has nothing to do with sets or reps. Proximity to failure is the most misunderstood variable in natural training. Pro bodybuilders train hard, there's no question about that. But the mechanism that makes their training work is not the mechanism that makes yours work. Here's the truth. As a natural lifter, your primary driver of muscle growth is mechanical tension, the force your muscle has to generate under load, specifically in the hardest part of the rep, close to failure. Here's the mechanism. Muscle fibers are recruited based on how much force the movement demands. Your body doesn't recruit all its fibers on the first rep. It recruits the minimum amount required, and as fatigue builds, it recruits progressively more. The most growth-producing fibers, the large type 2 fast twitch fibers, only get fully recruited in the reps closest to failure. Most people spend their entire training career nowhere near failure. They stop at 10 reps because the program says 10 reps, even though they had 6 more in the tank. They never actually recruited the fibers that grow. For an enhanced lifter, this matters less. Elevated hormone levels lower the threshold for muscle fiber recruitment and accelerate growth signals even through moderate effort. For you, training far from failure means training the fibers that don't grow and leaving the ones that do completely untouched. The rule is simple, but it requires honesty. Most of your sets should end 1 to 2 reps from failure, meaning if you stopped, you could have done 1 more, maybe 2, but not 5. The final set of every exercise goes all the way. True failure, nothing left. If you're doing 3 sets and you could have done 20 reps on every set, you didn't train, you just moved your body through space. So now you understand the 4 ways pro programs fail you: recovery, volume, frequency, proximity to failure. But understanding the problem isn't the same as having a solution. Here's the exact framework that actually works for natural lifters.
The Natural Lifter Framework. What actually works? This is not a program. This is a set of non-negotiable principles that every natural lifter needs to apply, regardless of what program they run. Principle 1. Train each muscle group twice per week. Upper-lower splits work. Push-pull leg run twice works. Full body 3 times a week works. Once-a-week bro splits don't. Not for naturals, not for growth. Principle 2. Cap weekly volume at 16 to 20 hard sets per muscle group. A hard set is a set taken within 1 to 2 reps of failure. If you're not training close to failure, none of the sets count the way you think they do. Quality over quantity, every time. Principle 3. Prioritize compound movements that train multiple muscle groups simultaneously. Squats, deadlifts, bench press, overhead press, rows, pull-ups. These create the largest training stimulus, recruit the most muscle fiber, and produce the strongest hormonal response. Accessory work is secondary, not primary. Principle 4. Progressive overload is the entire game. More weight over time or more reps at the same weight over time. This is the signal that tells your body it needs to grow. If you're not getting stronger, you're not growing, not consistently. Track every session, beat last week. That's the entire system. Principle 5. Protect recovery like it's your job. 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Protein at 0.8 to 1 gram of your goal body weight. No chronic cardio piled on top of training. No unnecessary stress eating into your recovery budget. A natural lifter's recovery system is their edge. Protect it like it's the most important training variable you have, because it is.
5 principles. But there's one thing most natural lifters still get wrong even after they fix their program. And it's the thing that quietly determines whether all of this actually compounds over time. The compound effect. Why consistency beats everything. Natural lifting is not a 6-week project. It's a multi-year process. Here's what that means practically. In the first 3 months of correct natural training, most of your progress is neural. Your nervous system is learning to recruit more fibers, to coordinate movements more efficiently. You'll get stronger without seeing dramatic size changes. Most people quit here. They think it's not working. From months 3 to 12, the actual structural changes begin. Muscle tissue starts to grow. Your frame starts to fill out. People start to notice. From year 1 to 3, if you stay consistent with the principles, progressive overload, twice-a-week frequency, controlled volume, close to failure, you build a physique that looks completely different from the person you are today. The problem with copying pro bodybuilder programs isn't just that they don't work, it's that they create program hoppers. Men who change their approach every 6 weeks, chasing faster results and never giving any approach enough time to compound. The men who actually transform their bodies naturally aren't the ones with the most advanced programs. They're the ones who found sound principles and ran them long enough to see what happens when you don't quit. Pro bodybuilder programs fail natural lifters for 4 reasons. Their recovery system is pharmaceutically enhanced. Yours operates on a 48 to 72-hour natural window. Their volume tolerance is dramatically higher. Excess volume for a natural lifter drives cortisol, not growth. Their once-a-week frequency works because their anabolic environment stays elevated. Yours closes the muscle-building window by day 2. Their threshold for muscle fiber recruitment is lower. Yours means proximity to failure isn't optional, it's mandatory. The Natural Lifter Framework. Train each muscle twice a week, 10 to 16 hard sets per muscle group per week. Compound movements first, progressive overload every session. Recovery protected like a training variable. Do that consistently for 1 year and you won't need to copy anyone, because you'll have built something most men who train never actually build, a natural physique, built through a system that was actually designed for you.